Welcome back to another episode of 805 Life. I'm Sergio Gonzalez with SG Associates, and we're taking you behind the scenes of all things real estate and beyond here in the 805. Today with me, I have two amazing individuals from Stratton and Sons Moving Company, located in Chatsworth, but servicing all the 805 here. They've done an amazing job with my clients, and with so much changing in real estate right now and a huge migration happening, I thought it'd be an amazing opportunity to bring you guys in, give some insight on what's taking place in moving in state, out of state, locally, and share a little bit about your story. You guys have an absolutely amazing story to tell. So welcome to the show, Eric and Tyler from Stratton and Sons.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Awesome. So this is actually our second run, just FYI, because we forgot to hit the record button. So there you go. Progress, not perfection, as we like to say. So Eric, tell us a little bit about the history. I love this story about the Stratton and Sons history here.
Sure. The company was started by my dad and my grandfather back in 1973. So we're actually coming up to our 50th year anniversary of the company.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you. And so started by my dad and my grandfather. They left a company called Lions Transfer at the time, and they started Stratton and Sons with just one truck and two guys. Me and my brother came into the business, my brother in 1985 and myself in 1984. And you know, I've been moving furniture my whole life. I mean, this is what you do as a Stratton. I mean, you're not allowed to do anything else. So me and my brother bought out my father in 2010. We brought Tyler in around the same time, him and his sister Cassie. And, you know, we've been going strong ever since. We offer moving, storage, packing, unpacking,
Awesome.
Whatever you need.
So Tyler, your dad is Eric and Paul's brother.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so now you and your sister, what's your sister's name?
Cassie.
Cassie are now part of the team.
Yeah.
So we're now fourth generation in this business, in this family business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you guys are still like smiling. That's
We love it.
That's awesome.
You got us on a good day.
That's awesome. So let's kind of just get into what services you guys offer from end to end. Let's kind of run through that really quick and unpack some of these services that you guys offer, because I think not many people know what moving companies do in its entirety, but specifically maybe what you guys do for your clients.
Sure.
Yeah. So we full service moving and storage company. From A to B, or A to Z, I guess I should say. So we will come in, we'll pack everything up, move it all, unpack it all for you. We provide storage, disposal services to an extent, depending on our availability, of course. But yeah, I mean, pretty much anything aside from really deep organizing, decluttering, things like that. Those we would have someone else take care of, but pretty much.
And we know a lot of good organizers.
Yeah. Good. That's awesome. I think you guys were mentioning that having, a team, right, around you to kind of help facilitate and plan the move, right, whether that's locally or out of state, is really important. How soon should someone, a homeowner who's going to be selling their house or making the move, how soon should they have you guys come in and do an assessment or give a quote, or how does that work?
Yeah, as soon as you make the decision to sell your house, and you know what you're going to bring. So, walk through your home and kind of go through it so you don't bring us in and you're still kind of deciding on what to bring. But when you have a good idea, and it might be everything, get us in there or get your mover in there to walk the house with you. They're going to ask you pertinent questions that are going to bring up, different things that you may need to do. So it's good to get us in early.
Okay.
And for a company like us, we book up rather quickly. Right now we're about a month and a week out, but typically 3 to 4 weeks. So
okay. And what are some of those questions that I think Tyler, because you're out in the field, right? You're face to face, belly to belly with
well,
clients?
both of us are out there doing the estimates and making that first contact with the clients. I mean, questions that we ask a lot of times are, what items are you bringing? Because every house is different. So there may be things where they say everything is going, but then once we start asking about different things, it really pinpoints what they're actually planning to bring.
Right. Let's talk about, I think you mentioned storage, right? Because sometimes there's delays on the real estate side. You had a scheduled closing date and it didn't happen the way it was supposed to happen. So now all the stuff's been moved out and they can't close yet. And so where does their stuff go? Where is it sitting? Yeah. Is quite a common, situation we find ourselves in. How, and you guys offer.
Yeah. So our storage is a little different than what people probably typically would think about storage in the sense of a public storage facility. So we do more of a containerized storage. It's a private facility. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to come in, we're going to photo inventory everything, which the client gets a link to. They can access it, view their whole inventory and what's on that list. And then we're going to scan everything into those individual containers. And why that's an important thing, especially in today's world, is you may need only certain things out of your storage. So rather than having to go into a 10 by 30 unit trying to find a needle in a haystack, we can rather easily find that piece or those pieces for you and have them either ready to be delivered out or ready to be picked up.
Wow.
And this is really where we shine because our storage facility, we just built it 2 years ago. Okay. It's 50,000 square feet, state of the art. Like Tyler said, I mean, we're going to photo inventory all your articles plus description of what's in the boxes. We're going to put that all on your phone and on your computer. So if you need anything, you don't find that a lot. What you find...
I've never heard of that.
Yeah. So it's really, really organized. And we've taken a long time and it's been hard finding the right softwares and the procedures to get it dialed in just right. But there really is nowhere better to store your things. And it all stays wrapped and protected the whole time.
That's right. Awesome. And that's a key thing with people not understanding the difference there is when you go to a public storage, if you have a mover delivering that stuff, they're going to unwrap everything. So your stuff's going to be in, there may be cardboard in between things. Of
and
course,
that's if you're a decent mover. You
right.
put cardboard in. There's so many bad ones out there.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, that's a huge, I don't think I've ever heard of a moving company going that extra step. And I imagine that's been just really like, how can we really better serve the client, right?
Correct.
Because I'm sure maybe at some point that wasn't the case and you're like, hey, it'd probably be a good idea if we did this and did that. So I think there's some innovation happening at Stratton and Sons.
Yeah, and that innovation helps both the client tremendously, but it also helps us as well make sure everything is that, streamlined product that we want to provide to the client.
Okay. So when people are thinking like which company they should go with.
It's us.
Most definitely. And when they have a doubt that they maybe or want to get a second quote and they're asking questions or how will they, what are questions they should be asking when they're looking at or after having spoken with you and they want to compare quote unquote apples to apples? Mm-hmm. What are some of the things that they should be asking or verifying that are going to be at the same standard and level of service that Stratton and Sons offers?
Yeah, so making sure that employees are actually full-time employed with that company, that's a key thing. You want to know who's coming into your household. I mean, we're dealing with your entire life pretty much. So making sure that those employees are full-time, they're licensed and bonded, the company, as well as the company has workers' comp for those employees. That's a big thing. You don't want someone that, has been working with them for 2 days, coming into your house, not knowing who they really are. So that's one of the big things we do is we make sure we know who our employees are, all of our guys have been with us for a long time. And there's a reason that they're here with us for a long time. If it's not a fit, we're not going to keep them because we need to make sure that we trust them with the client's items.
Yeah, I mean, this is people's, like you said, full life possessions and valuables, right?
Right.
It's grandma's first, and, did that get packed? Which box is it in?
Right.
Where did it go? And I think having the documentation to say, okay, this item is in this container, here, we can access it for you if needed.
Yeah.
Type of deal. So, what is, with everybody, I would say everybody, but there's a huge migration happening out of California right now, right? For all kinds of reasons. Where do you guys see most of this exit? What are some of the areas that you're seeing? Because you guys are at the forefront of this, so you actually know exactly where they're moving to the address, right? What are the states that you're seeing a lot of this migration going to?
So Connecticut, New York, Florida, Texas, Arizona, Idaho, and then also Tennessee. Those are our
Utah.
Those are our frequent flyer miles there, going to those states.
Yeah, I think that really confirms what we have researched, at least, right? Because we're looking at websites, and obviously our own clients are telling us, hey, we're moving here, we're moving there. But the online research is usually about a couple of years behind, and you guys are in it day to day like we are. And I think it just really confirms, these places where people are going. And so let's talk about this out of state moving. What does that look like logistically for you guys? What are some of the things you need to consider? Getting a quote, is it accurate? Because it's a bigger move.
Right.
Yeah, always get a survey. Have the moving company come out and actually do an in-house estimate. That's the only real way they're going to be able to tell what you have. And then that binds them to a price that they give you. So that's imperative, I believe. Other than that, just, don't bring things with you that you don't need. I mean, don't pay to move it and get rid of it in Tennessee or, the other side of the country.
And is that because of the weight that is moving with the truck? Or?
Yeah, it's weight, volume, and distance. But it's all based on the weight,
right? Is
really what it is.
Okay. So what are... you mentioned that having an in-home survey as opposed to an online survey? Online
or over the phone, because you can't get a good idea, of the items that people have and the items that they're bringing.
And also access. I mean, access of the houses.
Is big.
You got a house in Hollywood Hills, but it looks like it's a nice one-level, easy access home on the phone. That's going to make a big difference.
Right.
And we do it to protect our men, and also to be able to give a real quote to the client. Because if we don't go out there and see that access, if we don't see the driveway, if we don't see where we're going to put the truck, the pieces that we're moving, and also where it's going to, then I'm going to send out too small a crew to get it too big of a job done. And then I'm going to have to go to the client with a larger bill, and that's not what we want to do.
Right. So obviously people have a lot of expensive things in their homes. Maybe it's art, maybe it's fixtures, maybe it's their wine. How does some of those things taken care of? How do you approach those things? What does that look like?
With care.
Yeah. I mean, clients point out those type of things, but in all honesty, we treat everything like it's $1 million because you never know if it's $1 million or not. We're not living with those things on a day-to-day basis. So everything gets wrapped up the same. It's going to be wrapped in pads, shrunk wrap, and, taken care of.
Some things need to be crated.
Right.
We try to avoid that if we can because the cost of crating can be high. Right. But if the piece needs to be crated, then we'll crate it.
Right.
Art is one of those things that can be very expensive. So canvas arts, if they're exposed canvas, we always glycine paper it, which is an acid-free paper. It's not going to stick to that canvas. Right. It's things you learn along the way that, have made us who we are and really perfected that skill to make sure everything's going to be taken care of.
Awesome. So what's like the future for Stratton and Sons? Are we taking over the moving industry. What does that look like? To share a little bit about, I mean, you're celebrating your 50th, right?
Next year.
Next year,
will be
okay.
your
So your
50th.
50th year's coming up, which is like, what is that, like half a century? I
Yeah.
think it is, right? So half a century with Stratton Brothers. What does the next 50 years look like?
Well, we're not growing because we can't find enough good people. And that, I think, is in all industries right now. They're having that problem.
Well, family needs to have more kids.
There you go.
So right now we're a niche moving company that delivers a good product. If that changes along the way, then that changes along the way. I don't want to substitute quantity for quality. So we'll just keep doing what we're doing and provide that service to our clients. We're all word of mouth. We don't advertise, and it's been that way for 50 years. So the phone rings, and then we, service the clients that need our help. In the future, maybe next generation, and maybe 10 years from now, who knows? Yeah. So we'll see. If we can continue to give that client top quality move, and we can grow, then we'll do that.
Awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
So, how can people get in touch with you? Is there a website? Why don't you share a little bit how people can reach out?
Yeah, so website, strattonandsons.com. You can reach us by email or phone. Our email is moveeasy with one E. So MOVEASY at strattonandsons.com.
We keep that because when email just kind of started, my grandfather picked it. And so
it's always been that.
Yeah, it's always been that. We're not going to change it.
Is it at AOL?
This guy still does.
Awesome. Well, Thanks so much again for coming in and sharing your amazing story. I love that it's still family. I love that it's fourth generation. I love that it's right here in our backyard. And if you guys are thinking of selling and need some advice on moving logistically, locally, or out of state, definitely give Stratton and Sons a call. Eric and Tyler here are waiting to do a consult for you, and we'll see you on the next episode. Take it easy.